NBA Cup quarterfinals. Let's preview them. Let's take a look at where the streaming value lies for fantasy, and let's sit back and listen to Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'm the best person to get to the bottom of all of this NBA Cup stuff. Why me? Well, I'm the king of bottoms. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok, at redrock_bball. Yeah, also, I think I said that twice. That's okay. And Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, check out LockedOnDaily.com. That is where you find the newsletter for your favorite team, LockedOnDaily.com. Of course, you're double banging and all that stuff over here as well. All right. Only 2 games on Tuesday, as I'm sure you're well aware. We'll just reiterate it again. 1 game Monday, 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday, 3 games Thursday. Sounds like a kid's nursery rhyme. Sing it to your children. Maybe they'll enjoy it. Really low portion of the schedule. And another reminder, if the teams lose on Tuesday or Wednesday, yes, they will play another game. There is one more game that they will play, and that game will almost assuredly be on Sunday. And it is not on your schedule because they do not know who plays there. There is only one situation in which the losing teams will not play on Sunday, and that is if Milwaukee loses to Orlando and New York loses to Atlanta. And then the Milwaukee-New York second game of the week will actually be on Monday the week after. But every team that loses in the NBA Cup, even if it looks that they've only got 1 game this week, they will have 2 under nearly every circumstance. Cool? Got it? We're good. Bang. Let's do it. Tuesday's NBA Cup quarterfinal games. Let's take a look at what is on my radar across for these 2 games. We've got our injury updates, I believe, that have all come through for these teams now. First game up is the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. The Bucks are sizable favorites here, 7-point favorites in this game. And in terms of the schedule, Orlando, they're obviously playing on Tuesday, and then the Magic either on Saturday or Sunday this week. So they do have 2 games. If they win, they play Saturday. If they lose, they play Sunday. And then the week after, which is calendar week 9, then they will play 2 games, or they definitely play 2 games in that week. The Milwaukee Bucks play on Tuesday this week, and then if they win, they play on Saturday. And if they lose, they might play on Sunday, or they might play on Monday. And that means their week next week is either a 2-game week or a 3-game week for week 9. So who's out? Paolo Banchero is out. Franz Wagner is out. Gary Harris is out. John Isaac is listed questionable with a hamstring strain, which is different to soreness, so just keep an eye on that. I would be skeptical of Johnny playing. And then the Bucks have just chucked 3 blokes on there with a probable tag. They had no one else on there. I guess they felt left out as the only team with no one on the injury report. So Giannis is probable, Chris Middleton is probable, and old mate Marjon Beauchamp is probable too. And I've got no doubts about what those guys are going to do. Giannis is going to play. Middleton's going to play. Beauchamp's not going to play. Nothing to do with whether he's healthy or not. That's how this schedule is going to go. All right, so what are we watching for on the Magic side of things? This man's face is plastered all over the thumbnail here, and his name is Cole Anthony. Why? Because this team needs someone to score. He did come off the bench last game for the Magic, and I think he probably will do that again, but he played 29 minutes. He's got an ability to maybe hit 20 points, but I do believe for this short-term period, while Franz and Paolo are both out, and we'll see if anything adjusts, I would be rostering Cole Anthony and seeing what happens. We wanted to see their proof of concept. The idea was there, but coaches don't always follow my idea. It's stupid. Why don't they call me? Just ring me, mate. I'll tell you what to do. Just, again, disclaimer, I don't think I know more than NBA coaches at all. But that one looked like it was something that would happen, and it did, so we got it. So we add Cole Anthony. And you know that I've been on and on about Cole Anthony over the last couple of years. I go, hey, he's one of those players, like Emmanuel quickly, that if I find that he can get to a team where he can start, he, I think, will be good. I had a list of those guys that I liked. It was Quickly, Grimes, Kobe White, and Cole Anthony. I think they're all the four guys, and maybe Peyton Pritchard, that give them a team and we'll get really good fantasy numbers out of them. Well, White got the starting job in Chicago, quickly went to Toronto. Eventually we'll see him, I'm guessing. Grimes hasn't really worked out, although we saw some flashes in Dallas. I've still got some hope, but it's a bad situation for his overall upside in Dallas. And now we're waiting on Cole Anthony. And Pritchard doesn't even need it, to be fair. Like, he's just doing it at the moment in Boston anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what Cole does here. In terms of Brook Lopez, last game stunk. It was bad. 3-3. That's a terrible game. He has had some wild fluctuations in value. We're still rostering him, but the man is old. And there are going to be ups and downs and all that sort of stuff all through the season. That is what happens to old players. So let's see how he gets utilized in this one up against the Goga Bitadze behemoth. In terms of stream, guys, well, it is Cole Anthony, who I do really like as a longer-term ad. But then there's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who doesn't really seem to do much in terms of changing his usage, because that's not who he is. He's a catch-and-shoot player who defends. Steals can come in bunches. They can not come at all. And that's what KCP is. But on a day like this and with a schedule like this and with injury absences like this, he's at least got some appeal. On the Milwaukee side, it's a little bit iffier. I've got Taurean Prince, but you could easily throw Gary Trent or AJ Green in there. Any of those players are liable to score 0. Any of them are liable to go 8 of 9 for 20 points. That is just how it works with those sort of streaky guys. And they are bringing Middleton off the bench. I don't know whether they'll do it in this game. And that means that Prince is still able to start. Now, he's obviously not someone we care about a huge amount in fantasy, but on a day like this, as a starter with 27-minute upside, I guess, who could get 15 points with 5 threes, that's interesting. There's not much else going on this day, but that is at least marginally interesting to us to be able to give us that value. The second game, we're going to come in and talk about that in just a second. It's the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. But today's episode is brought to you by the big fellas over at FanDuel Sportsbook. You can get ready. This thing says here for you to tackle the NFL action. Remix. No. You're ready to tackle the NBA Cup with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because that's what's on at the moment. It's the NBA Cup, and that game that I just talked about, the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. We've got the Bucks, like I said, 7-point favorites there. You can check out the odds for both of those teams to actually win the NBA Cup over on FanDuel. But if you want to do live betting, you can do that as well. On FanDuel, you go in and you open up the app and you can see all the live bets and the live stats and all this live stuff is happening at the same point. And if you are a new customer, well, you go in there, you get your $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So go and check out all the NBA Cup odds, and the favorite for that is the Thunder, followed by the Knicks, Bucks, Rockets. Then it's Mavs, Warriors, Hawks, and Magic over on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, win your first $5 bet, and get $150 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, that means we can now talk about the second game of the day. Like I said, Dallas OKC, which is shaping up to be an absolute cracker of a game. Like, this should be, obviously we saw the matchup in the playoffs last season. Two teams that have got superstars and young and up-and-coming squads that are going to challenge for the title. They're going to challenge for the Western Conference berth in the NBA Finals, and now they get an opportunity here in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. So what do we know about it? Well, at the moment, we know this part. This part's not changing. The game is in Oklahoma City. The Thunder are 4.5-point favorites here in this game, and both of these teams have got a schedule that is straightforward. They play Tuesday. If they win, they play Saturday. If they lose, they play Sunday. That is the only thing that's going to vary with these two teams. But they do, again, have a second game this week. 100% guaranteed. Trust old Uncle Josh. 100% guaranteed that both the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Orlando Magic, for that case, for that as well, they've got 2 games this week. Both of these teams, the Dallas Mavericks and the Thunder, played 2 games the week after as well. Okay? Both got 2 and 2. And this is why you should have been combining week 8, our current week, with week 9, the next week, into one matchup, not the way Yahoo combined 7 and 8 together. Because you're going to have that week, which is going to end up being matchup 8 on Yahoo, which is week 9, where there's teams playing 2. Everyone playing 2 with a handful of teams playing 3. Bad schedule. So what are we watching for here? Well, the Thunder are 4.5-point favorites, so that indicates it is sort of relatively close, the matchup here. We did get a slew of injury/illness updates for the Mavs. Maxi Kleber's out with an illness. We know Dante Exum's out. Jaden Hardy's dealing with an ankle problem, but the 2 big ones are going to be Paul Washington Jr. and Najee Marshall, who are both questionable with an illness. I think that for strategic reasons that they were fine. Maxi Kleber, he's out. I think that there is a real chance that either or both of these guys, Washington and Marshall, are out. They just don't want the Thunder to know that, because if the Thunder knows that Washington, Marshall, and Kleber are out, they know that they've got literally nobody to play there. They're going to dust off Markieff Morris. Are we going to see Olivier Maxence Prosper? I said about this on the injury show earlier today that you're going up against a Thunder whose power forward is Jalen Williams. I just start Clay there. Get more Dinwiddie in, get more Quentin Grimes in. If you've got no Washington and Marshall, start Clay at power forward. I don't know that they will, but that is 100% what I would do. But I'm also not Jason Kidd. For the Thunder, Holmgren, Pig Williams, and Usman Jeng are all out, and that has been the same injury report all the way through. What am I watching on the Dallas side? Derek Lively had that knee issue a week or so ago, but he's come back, and what they are seemingly doing now, which is intriguing, is we are seeing not 23 minutes of him and 21 minutes of Gafford. We're getting 27, 28, 30 Derek Lively minutes, and 18 of Gafford. And that's one of the things we talked about in the preseason, is that I like getting Lively. Gafford's useful, but I don't know if we're getting a 24 Lively or a 30 Lively. And a 30 Lively is very good. So that's what we want to see. How does it work against an Isaiah Hartenstein matchup? Will they lean into more Lively than Gafford on a consistent basis? For the Thunder, Cason Wallace is the guy that I do want to pay some attention to here. Wallace has started the vast majority of games recently. They can easily throw somebody different in there, but because the way the Mavericks line up with Luka and with Kyrie out there, I think having the ability to throw Wallace onto those guys, along with Shea and Jalen Williams versus an Isaiah Joe, I think is probably the direction that they will end up going, but could be anything. They could also, out of nowhere for the first time this season, throw Alex Caruso in and just get him to sit on Kyrie and take him out of the game. They've got a lot of options. Wallace has been really providing a ton of steals. I think he's got a lot more in his game. It won't really ever show in Oklahoma City, but he is an interesting player to watch how they distribute the minutes to him. In terms of stream guys, I am looking at Quentin Grimes. That's mainly in the situation where Washington and Marshall are out, because I think he'd have to play 30 minutes there, and I could say the same for Spencer Dinwiddie as stream options. But if Washington and Marshall play, well, Marshall's the stream that I look at over Grimes and over Dinwiddie. On the Thunder, Lou Dort is there, followed by Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe, and Alex Caruso if he's available. And he is in certain spots, but they've got quite a few streamable guys who are very up and down, and a lot of their stuff outside of Joe is steals with out-of-position blocks. That's what Dort, Caruso, and Cason Wallace bring. We know that, and it's all about who's going to get the more minutes. Well, Dort is usually going to do it, but Caruso got up to 24 last game, which to me, in a category league, it's a little bit of a signal of maybe I'll grab him here. Because 25 locks him in as a 12-team league guy, I think. 27 blows the bloody doors off, if that's what happens. We're not there yet, but it's been a very slow start, so you never know. Maybe something switcheroos, maybe. Let's take a look at a little bit of schedule stuff. Now, there's no back-to-backs across the NBA Cup, so there's no Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back. There's nothing chunky going on over the next 5 days. Teams play one game. There's I think 2 teams that play 2 games. There's nothing that's really sort of bulky to add in and try, we're going to get the big advantage here. That's nothing that really happens in this period of time. What I do want to highlight, though, is and I'm trying to do this, and I think I've got it down now, is looking at 5s and 2s. Instead of marrying ourselves to big calendar and looking only at weeks when they start on Monday through to Sunday, I want to look at weeks at every day of the year. What happens over the next 7 days? Because we have seen the impact of that. The way the Lakers were shithouse after 5 games in 7 nights. The way the Heat were dreadful and 5 games in 7 nights. The way the Celtics took an opposite approach and just sat everyone down and said, we're not going to play you through these games. You're going to sit. And other guys are going to get opportunities. So we want to see that. And then on the flip side, when no one has any games during that time, you go, they've only got 2 games in the next 7 nights. Is this guy actually worth an ad? So what's going on with the 5s and 2s over the next 7 nights? Well, here you go. Every single NBA team from Tuesday, the 12th of December, through to Monday, the 18th of December, the 7-day period, the week, every single team plays 2 games. Ignore what your schedule says on your fantasy app. Trust me, not it. Every single team has 2 games in the next 7 days. No advantage over the next week for any team at all. Now, there's always timing advantages as to when they're in, and you can get the 2 games here and drop out and get another 2. That's all true. But over a 7-day period, every team plays 2 games on the nose exactly. Guaranteed. Lock it in. Absolutely done and dusted. Yes? Yes? We good? We banging it out? Absolute W. We're going to look at the streams of the day. First, today's episode is brought to you by, speaking of W's, the legends at Mint Mobile. Big wireless providers. They're not out for your best interest. They're out there to see that what they're offering is just not what you're going to get. Between leaving that store and getting home and getting your first month's bill, the price that you thought that you were paying, it's magically skyrocketing. With Mint Mobile, they're not going to get you in those little traps. They just tell you it's $15 a month for 3 months, and guess what? It's $15 a month for 3 months. How good's that? You don't have to worry about what's going to happen when this bill comes. Don't worry about the overpriced wireless plans. With this, Mint Mobile, the $15 a month for 3-month plan, you get all these great things. High-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and it's all delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring along your phone. Bring along your phone number. Bring along your contacts. Hey, bring your friends in as well. Mint Mobile gets everything that you would want from a mobile deal. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. The new customer offer, to get it, all you got to do is get your 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month and go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That is mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment required, which of course is equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on a first 3-month plan only. Your speeds will get slower over 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right. So let's get in now and take a look at what the stream options actually are across the day with the 2 games on. Yeah, our pickings are a little on the slim side. The stream of the day for 10s, I'm going to look at Alex Caruso. Yes, I know it is risky, but by far Caruso has the best permitted upside. And if they are interested in throwing him out there on a Kyrie Irving, maybe pushing it to 26, he's the guy that I want. In a 12-teamer, it's Cole Anthony. Although, again, longer term, I do prioritize Anthony over Caruso. Also, that just also depends on your individual needs. For 14-teamers and 16-teamers, we're mining the depths of the Bucks nonsense. 14-teamer, I look at the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince. And for 16-teamers, I'll swallow my pride and take Gary Trent Jr., I guess. Trent can hit a lot of threes. He can't do much else but the occasional steal. And that's okay. That's what we're sort of searching for here. For a points league, whether it's a Yahoo? No, that's not what that site is called. It's called Yahoo, actually. And on ESPN with their point scoring systems, the guy that I look at is Cole Anthony. He's the guy that I'm looking at. Generating usage and scoring is really what these points leagues are about. And just in general, it's a big key in fantasy. And Cole Anthony, I think, is going to be the guy that we want to take a look at. In terms of our list of 10-team league guys, remember, whatever size league you're in, category leagues, just start with this list. See who's available. Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Cole Anthony, Cason Wallace. You'll see 3 of those guys, Caruso, Dort, and Wallace, steals. Now, if you don't need them, then their value's not there. But then we go to, there's Cole Anthony with his scoring and threes and assists, and there's Taurean Prince with some steals, but some scoring and some threes, and there's Gary Trent with some steals and some threes. As you'll note, steals and threes, the easiest thing to get off the waiver wire. And that's why Cole Anthony, even though alleged, one game value for these other players might be higher, the scarcity and rarity of what Anthony provides is more interesting to me. If you go across to 12-team numbers, we've got Mr. Black, who's really strong at providing those out-of-position blocks. You're going to get not much in the scoring department. And he didn't actually see his minutes increase, but he's worth looking at. Isaiah Joe and AJ Green, just, Spider-Man pointing memes. You're going to get threes and not much else. Quentin Grimes, who actually could jump way up this list if PJ and Najee are ruled out for Dallas. Aaron Wiggins, who has dropped off quite a bit lately, and you notice the quality of these streams is dropping off now as well. Tristan Da Silva, who is starting for the Magic, but that does not portend good things necessarily. For deeper leagues, Spencer Dinwiddie, much like Quentin Grimes, I would elevate him way up that list if players are out. And then you go Kenrich Williams, Andre Jackson Jr., AJ Mitchell, Jet Howard, who could also be a little bit higher perhaps, and then you're really scraping the bottom. That's Olivier Maxence-Prosper, who might get 5 minutes or so. But if we see no PJ and if we see no Najee Marshall, then Prosper might have to do more. But yeah, he is not shown to be good really in any facet. For Yahoo Points League streamers, we're looking at 40% rostered or below. Cole Anthony, Lou Dort, Wendell Carter Jr., who was pretty disappointing last game, but I do expect more out of him. Especially, I think his value can be there in guarding Giannis. Flaming Mo Wagner, high usage scorer off the bench. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Risto Black. As you'll notice, there is 5 Orlando Magic players there on that Yahoo Points League list because of the absence of Paolo and Franz. For ESPN points, it's a relatively similar list. We go to Cole Anthony, Lou Dort, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Wendell Carter Jr., Cason Wallace, and lastly, Flaming Mo Wagner. And that is a daily preview for the first day of the NBA Cup quarterfinals. There will be a recap show tonight where we will look at the Knicks and Raptors game, but I'm going to chuck something else in there as well. So it's not just going to be that one game recap. We'll get a little bit of other information in there as well. Just a bit of a sort of, I guess, a quarter poll recap on some teams or players or just some interesting things that I think I've found. But I haven't found them yet, so I'm going to go do that now. Don't forget, guys, thumb up, subscribe. But as you know, let's be good to ourselves. Let's be positive. It's very hard to be a good and productive person and helpful to others if you can't do it to yourself. And that might sound trite, but always acknowledge you've done a good thing. Whether that was that you had a big win in your taco league, or maybe it was your double onyx, diamond, platinum, titanium league, or you picked something up that someone dropped. Hey, dropped your keys. It's all small stuff, right? But it's good. It's a good thing. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.